I'm excited to talk to y'all. I'm going to wait for everybody to come on board. We're having a really important conversation today about, you guessed it, voting. We're still talking about voting, y'all. We're still talking about voting because Georgia has started early vote, and it matters who wins in Georgia. All eyes on Georgia. Georgia on my mind. I'm gonna let a couple y'all jump on. We're gonna have a really quick conversation. It won't be long, so I hope you guys stay with us. We're talking to a really amazing, knowledgeable activist on the ground there in Georgia, and so I want you guys to pay attention. Even if you're not from Georgia, this is gonna be a great conversation because you'll know how to help, right? I'm gonna go ahead and add our guest. You know what? I just realized I can't hear anything. I wonder if it's not connected. Let me see. Coucou de la France. Hi!
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's already dark in Georgia, huh?
Oh, yes, here it's like winter time. So it's not like California where it's like, sunny and bright all the time. Yeah, it's nice and
Always,
dark here.
always beautiful in California. How are you,
Absolutely.
Michelle? Nice to meet you and speak with you. Thank you so much for jumping on Instagram with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I am doing wonderful. Working very hard here in Georgia, and I'm happy to be here with you. Congratulations on your Commitment to California award. I saw that today, and that's really wonderful.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I've been following your activist career for a long time, even
Oh,
everything that you've been doing. So thank you so much for having us.
oh, thank you. Are you kidding? I'm so inspired by the work you're doing and really how it all came to be. For those of y'all jumping on right now, this is Michelle Zuluaga, and she
Yeah.
is with the civic participate. She is the civic participation manager for the
Mhm.
Latino Community Fund in Georgia. And tell them a little bit about what the fund does. But I just want to tell everybody, Michelle's story is really personal. She was affected by family separation and deportations, and you were
Mhm.
inspired to make a difference. Because I think a big myth that everybody has is you have to be rich and famous to be an activist or a philanthropist. And I keep
Right.
telling people it's everyday people who are affected by policy. Policy affects people, and you decided we need to make a change because it's a painful process sometimes when it affects you in a negative way. So tell them a little bit about yourself and what the Latino Community Fund does in Georgia.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. So the Latino Community Fund Georgia, we are a public charity. We are a nonprofit. So we do focus on three main pillars, which is grant making, and then capacity building and advocacy. And in advocacy, we really focus on this branch on a program called Latinos for Democracy. I actually have the t-shirt right here. And with Latinos for Democracy, we focus on, giving Latino-led organizations the capacity to do GOTV work, or other ways known as get out the vote work. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, yes, of course, I started doing this. I think that anybody that does, and I'm sure you really, when you do this kind of work, it is personal. It's something that comes from the heart, right? It's a job that's not easy. You come across
Yeah.
very hard things sometimes, and it really has to come with love. Yes, my family went through family separation, but also we lived here in the United States for a long time, and living in a mixed status family, of course, I never grew up with seeing my parents vote because they were simply not eligible. My family members didn't vote because they weren't eligible at the time. Some are now. And well, if you look at our history back home, my grandmother didn't vote until her 60s. My mother did not vote till her 40s. It's simply not really expected in Latina culture in the back in the day. So
Yeah.
now I said, okay, where's that Latino outreach here? How can we make this change, right? This is a cycle that needs to change. And that's something
Yeah.
that we're doing with Latinos for Democracy.
Yeah. And so you live in Georgia. That's where you live?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
So
do.
what is the energy like right now in Georgia? Are people I'm getting the message people are exhausted and they like, didn't I just vote? Why do I have to vote again? And I also get the impression that people don't even know there's a runoff, especially in the Latino community. So what is the energy like there? What obstacles or positive things are you seeing and facing?
Well, us organizers, as you can imagine, of course, we are exhausted. But you know what? I mean, this is a one in a lifetime chance. Things like that, things like this barely happen. And I think that that's why they are not as familiar, or we are not as familiar with it. People really just like go and vote every 4 years, you know? So,
Yeah.
so, you know,
Yeah. But
I'm very excited right now.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're fine. Right now, everybody is really excited. We've had record numbers of people turning out and voting. I mean, I was in, there's this place, you know, it's like about 30 minutes away from Atlanta. It's called Norcross. And I saw lines, you know, which made me very happy. So people are out, people are voting, and hopefully it'll continue so until, you know, the elections are over.
Yeah. So let's give people some information, because I think people assume they go to the same place where they voted for president, and that's not always the case, right? Sometimes they got to get new information. So where do they go for that information? How do they know that information?
Absolutely. So there are a couple of ways that you can look it up. So you can go to our website, latinosfordemocracy.net. There we will direct you, and there will be links where you can find your polling place. As you mentioned, even that's absolutely correct. The same locations are not, or the locations that were used during the general elections are not the same that are used during the runoff election. So what you're saying is completely right. And then also the times are different. Here, every county kind of does their own thing, and it makes it very confusing, unfortunately.
Oh.
But yeah, right. So it's very different here in Georgia.
Yeah.
So I do encourage everybody to go to our website, latinosfordemocracy.net. There we provide you with some tools so that you can either find your polling place if you live here in Georgia, or if you want to get involved, you can find some information there too.
Yeah. And then what about COVID and voting, right? So like, what are the options if people are too nervous to actually go and vote in this environment right now where COVID is so high?
Absolutely. Here, and especially here in Georgia, I mean, you know, it's impacted everybody everywhere. And especially the Latino community. We went down and tipped in Georgia, and we helped a lot of people through our financial assistance program. And we saw just the devastation. So basically what we're encouraging people is, you know, please vote early, right? Don't wait until election day when there's a bunch of people there or people are waiting in line. Please go early. If you have time, go during down times, right? Don't necessarily go during lunch, go during down times. Or if you want to vote by mail, that is also an option. However, here, the vote by mail process it took me about a month to get my absentee ballot. The second I realized there were runoff elections, I ordered my absentee ballot immediately. You know, but it took me over a month to get it. So my fear is that people might not get it in time. You can order it, and you know, we encourage you to do so for your safety. But nothing guarantees you, unfortunately, that you're going to get it.
Yeah. So yeah, early voting has started. People can go look it up now, go and vote. January 5th is election day, but I say that's the day the election ends.
Right.
Which is January.
Don't leave it until last minute. I know us Latinos, we're infamous for leaving everything until last minute. Don't do it. This is not where we do that. I call it Latino Standard Time, right? Exactly.
We have a different time. Now, for those of us who don't live in Georgia, like I don't live in Georgia, I can't vote in Georgia. How can we support Georgians and also, you know, support our country? Because what happens after these runoffs, which is Reverend Warnock is running. That's our Democratic nominee. That's who you should go and be voting for. And Reverend John Ossoff. That's, you know, those are the two candidates that I obviously support. But how do we support y'all in Georgia?
So, you know, I do want to be clear. All the work that we do here in Georgia is nonpartisan here, at least with Latinos for Democracy and LCF. However, if you want to support, please do so. If you go to latinosfordemocracy.net, there is a donate button. There is also information on if you want to volunteer if you live in the state of Georgia. We do text-based and they are virtual. So you can just
great.
log in, go in whenever. We do it on Mondays and Wednesdays, and you're welcome to join. We have actually, during the general elections, we texted Latinos for Democracy. We texted 500,000 people. And this time, yeah, I know. And then this time our goal is 400,000 Georgians. So, the numbers, of course, we can use all the help we can. And it's so exciting when we log into a text banking shift. We're all on a Zoom call, and it's people from New York and California, or it's just from all over the country. It's so beautiful to see. So if you want to do that, please do so. You can go also to our page and go to our link tree, and there's anything that you want to sign up. If anybody, and also if you know somebody that lives in Georgia, remind them about the runoffs, So even if it's a friend, even if it's your primo that you haven't talked to in like 3 months, go ahead and give them a call. Let them know.
Let them know there's an election going on. I just feel like we're at the finish line of democracy. We're at the finish line. So for everybody who's really feeling exhausted by hearing go vote, go vote, go vote, I promise you, we're almost done.
Oh my God, you're preaching to the choir. You're really preaching to the choir here, because honestly, I'm like, January 6th, come.
I know. But you know what? An activist work is never done. There's
never
elections
done.
And then there's organizing. And that's the thing that I think the Latino community, all communities, we don't like when people come knocking at our door every 4 years to say your vote matters. Like, you need to say our livelihoods matter, and and invest in our communities year round, year after year, not just during election years. And so I think that's what we're seeing a lot of as well, don't you think?
Absolutely. What's going on after these elections? Guess what's coming? Redistricting. We just answered the census, and then legislators are going to be drawing those maps. And guess what? We have to be as involved as we are when we're voting. We have to go to the Capitol. We have to talk to our representatives, because if we don't, those maps and those districts are not going to represent us. So it's very important for us to keep the ball rolling. If you're tired of receiving texts and emails, well, guess what? You're going to keep on getting them. And that's okay.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. If you believe in our democracy, it's the small price you pay, which is civic engagement and your civic duty of voting. And so for everybody in Georgia, I hope you guys have the right information and support the Latino Community Fund. I've said this time and time again, but during COVID has affected communities of color disproportionately, and the Black and brown communities are hurting a lot because of COVID. But COVID didn't create these disparities. COVID exacerbated them. And so we have to fix those disparities, whether it's in education or healthcare or the economy or access to good jobs and access to opportunity. We want access to opportunity. And so I really appreciate all the work that you've been doing. Let everybody know again where to find you guys, and then I'll post it also in the comments below.
Really appreciate it. Absolutely. So you can go to latinosfordemocracy.net. You can also go to lcfgeorgia.org if you want to actually look beyond our GOTV work. You can also follow us on our social media page, LCF Georgia, and you can also, and then there's a link tree of a bunch of information. And on Facebook, we are Latino Community Fund Georgia.
Perfect. Well, thank you for jumping on with us, Michelle. We're so happy to speak with anybody on the ground in Georgia, because, what happens in Georgia affects the rest of the country. So I appreciate all the work you're doing, and we'll direct people your way if they have questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your platform. I really, really appreciate it, Eva. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody that watched. And thank you, Georgia. I know that there was amazing people behind this project, so I want to thank everybody.
Yay, Georgia. Be safe out there with COVID while you're out there informing voters, and everybody please wear a mask.
Absolutely. Always. Ciao.